as the era of President Donald Trump is unfolding and underway. Might be interesting predictions that you might want to take a look at. And Gerald Celente is on the line right now. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Bill.
So you guys are out of Kingston, right?
That's right.
So, and by the way, was it your publication that predicted a Trump victory here?
We're the only magazine in the world that we know that forecasted it. We're political atheists, by the way. I've been at this since 1980. A number of books, Trends 2000, Trend Tracking.
Yeah.
So we look at things for the way they are, not the way we want them to be. And it's the presidential reality show, and he's a reality show champion. And when you go back, and people forget this, that these two candidates had the highest negativity ratings of any two candidates in modern history. So it became the bottom line, and it was about business. It's the economy, stupid. That was the old Clinton campaign in 1992.
Yeah.
And it's the same one now.
So you're saying that this is going to be the era of Trump, and there will be changes.
Yes. Again, one of our stories is play the Trump card. He beat all the establishment. He took them all out. Whether it was, you go back to as late as October 11th, and you had Paul Ryan and the Republican Party not willing to support him, even at that late in the game. He beat the mainstream media.
Yeah.
He beat Hollywood. The Katzenbergs, the Spielbergs. He beat Silicon Valley. The point of the story is that people are looking for something new. They're tired of what is. And so it's his show. There's nothing standing in his way. So for the next 2 years, we're forecasting he's going to do basically whatever he wants to do. Like it or not, good or bad, this is the trip.
So what was your take on the speech the other night, which was a different Donald Trump, and even today with this news on Jeff Sessions that he might have had contact on 2 different occasions with a Russian, and maybe did not disclose that during the confirmation. We're not hearing from the tweet lashing that we would normally hear from the president this morning.
Well, no, we're not. But again, even that issue, just what you said, the Russians are coming. The Russians are coming.
Yeah.
This has been going on now since during the campaign, right after the campaign, and now it's still going on. So it goes back to the first thing that you mentioned. What about Trump's State of the Union or his address to Congress?
Yeah.
That's forgotten now. Now
Right.
it's back to Sessions.
Right.
So going back to his speech, there's really nothing new that he said in it.
Yeah, yeah.
But the reality is the markets are, we've been forecasting, as I said, for many, many years, since 1980. We were negative on the economy. And, it's in our publications. We changed it 5 days after the election because now it's a person that hit the major focus business. And you see the people that he's brought in, like them again or not. I wouldn't want to do business with a Bill Mnuchin or a Wilbur Ross. But boy, if they're going to be negotiating on my behalf, I'd love to have these guys.
Yeah, yeah. Hey,
I'm sorry. Go on.
Well, I'm very interested that you talk about based on research that you guys have done. That even though we're hearing right now that this administration is going to come out against the legalization of marijuana and possibly impose the federal restrictions that currently exist, but you have a different opinion on that.
Well, again, the business of Trump is business. Look what happened when they legalized gambling. Boom, man, he puts up his casinos right away.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with this. The revenues coming in for instance, in Colorado, they have more revenues coming in, tax revenues on pot than on booze. The $2 billion in business between Washington State and Colorado, just in 2016. This is the end of prohibition. And then there's the whole medical marijuana issue. We have 28 states that are looking or that have now legalized it either legally or for recreational use. It's the bottom line. Remember when, the guys, I remember when a kid growing up in the Bronx and Yonkers, they used to play the numbers. No, that's not good. The people are wasting their money. They shouldn't be doing this. They bust the vegetable man for peddling the numbers.
Right.
But then, hey, now you got lotto. You got to be in it to win it. Because you can make money off it.
Yeah, I said this in jest last week. Hashtag, buy American pot. I'm not surprised if Trump does this.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what we did see the other night, too, in the speech the other night, was a move away from possibly the Steve Bannon philosophy. There's two places we saw that, where the president almost seemed to get more, maybe there was more influence coming from his daughter than anybody else. And again, it's too early to tell, but maybe. But here are the two places. On immigration, where he said there's a path to legality, which is something that is in contrast with conservatives, many conservatives. And the other was the issue on health care, saying, listen, we're not just going to get rid of it, we're going to replace it, and it's going to take us some time. So is it possible that Trump is beginning to feel his oats and could say that despite what some in his administration are saying about marijuana, that he's going to look at this and say, there's money here, and that's where we're going.
Yeah.
And that's what we believe. Again, he's a business guy, and the states need money, and it's a state by state issue. And going back, and as I was waiting, and there was the editorial about the transgender bathrooms. Leave it up to the states.
Yeah.
And Trump has said during his campaign, states' rights. And by the way, New York State is so stupid on this. But as I began my career, by the way, I used to run political campaigns in Westchester County, and then I was the assistant to the Secretary of the New York State Senate as a young guy. So I know what stupidity looks like from the inside.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing with this marijuana thing. And they're doing it they just did it in Massachusetts where the people wanted it, and now they're holding it up for another 6 months.
Yeah, yeah.
But you look at Colorado, they're doing it intelligently, and the medical marijuana breakthroughs, and we have them detailed in the Trends Journal, that are coming out, but you can't get good testing in the United States because it's still a federal, against federal law. Israel, Spain, major breakthroughs on marijuana testing.
Interestingly, in Colorado, though, because of federal law, these marijuana outfits, they're making money hand over fist, but they can't put any of it in the bank because of federal laws. It's crazy.
I know. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Again, what are we talking about? Who hasn't known? I know. I shouldn't ask you. You probably smoked but never inhaled, I mean, who doesn't know anybody that hasn't? I mean, let's grow up about this.
I want to go back to, in 1997, you put out a book called Trends 2000. And you talked about something that everybody would have told you was just ridiculous. And that is the accelerating demise of shopping malls. And look where we are today.
Again, it's these trends, they come and they go. They're born, they grow, they reach old age, and then they die.
Yeah.
And you look at all of the mall closings going down with Macy's. JCPenney just announced, 146 closings.
Yeah.
So what that means is that on the small, here we are in Colonial Kingston, New York, the Hudson Valley Mall. Bam, Macy's is gone, JCPenney's is gone. Now what's happening to uptown and downtown Kingston? The small shops are reopening.
Yeah.
So now you have a revitalization of the downtowns that lost their mom and pop shops from the malls. Now there's going to be a reversal taking place.
Do you think, though, that did you predict back then that because really the cause of the failure in malls seems to be the ability to buy this stuff online?
No, our fail. There were two reasons why we forecast it. One was really overbuilding. They overbuilt these malls, and then more competition coming in from other ways. No, back in 1997, online shopping hardly existed, and we saw a lot of things changing. We didn't see that, not at the level it is now.
Yeah,
but that's not why there's the pall over the malls. That's a good part of it, absolutely, but it's bigger than that.
And
they've lost their. You go into some of these stores. It's like walking into a large self-storage unit. There's no warmth, there's no life, there's nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
So why do I have to go when I could go online? I'm not getting an experience by going to these places.
And you don't have to carry the box out to your car. You got to carry it from your doorstep into the house.
That's right.
So interesting. Andrew, last question there.
Yeah, any predictions on some stocks that maybe I should invest in or anything like that?
Well, we don't give financial advice, but I'll tell you that this marijuana business is going. We work with a firm, by the way. We put out the forecast as a firm called Agora Financial, Agora, and they tell what to invest in the stocks. But I'll go back to gold as another one that we forecast a long time, and that is the gold prices are going to go down as they raise interest rates. The stronger the dollar goes, the weaker gold goes. But the stronger the dollar goes, the weaker all the world currencies go. So, and this is a global economy. So, and then you look at all the destabilization. We talk about Trump, and what we said when we called him a winner was we said the only thing that could derail Trump, and we wrote this in May, it was that if there's a wild card, and the same thing with the economy, if there's a wild card, but we also said the wildest of the wild cards is Trump himself. Mm-hmm. So this thing could go any way. So we still look at gold as a safe haven asset because the downside we see is about $100, $150, which is really nothing. Mm-hmm. The upside, once it breaks $1,400, we're looking at a shot toward around $2,000.
Look at the stock market right now. I mean, what are trends showing? Does it just continue to grow, or are we in for a...
We're going to have a correction, but we don't think it's going to be a crash.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, you always have a correction at these kind of levels. And again, we changed our forecast 4 or 5 days after Trump got elected. There's a saying in the business, the trend is your friend. When you're seeing growth like this, you do not ignore it. Yeah. And then you look at the why, and the whys are 3. I'm going to give you tax breaks to corporations and the middle class. Well, that's going to be good for business. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to deregulate, whether you like them or not. I'm not in favor of deregulation personally, but boy, it's going to help business. Yeah. And the other one, by the way, the infrastructure, that's not a real one because they're talking about $1 trillion over 10 years. That's only $100 billion out of $4 trillion nearly budget. That's chump change. Yep. But Obama had an $831 billion infrastructure program. So that's not going to be enough. But those other two, they're very favorable. And by the way, a lot of them, then you have to, again, put it all together. If interest rates go up too fast, you're going to start seeing a slowdown in the real estate market big time, and you'll see a pullback in the stock market. But we do not see a crash minus a wild card, but definitely a pullback. But again, a pullback and then a recovery after it.
All right, let's do this again, Gerald. I definitely enjoyed it. Really good. And by the way, out of Kingston, it's trendsresearch.com. And if you want to read this latest, the predictions of the era of Trump unfolding, it's... trendsresearch.com/trends-journal. And you should check that out. Gerald Celente, thanks so much for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me. All the best.
We'll do it again. I got a break.